Man, it was so good to see you last night on stage. The show was fantastic, and of course the album is number seven, as Billy said. So you got to be so excited right now, right?
It's great. Yeah, good energy all around. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and this stuff is still fun to you years and years later, and so it's just got to be kind of a joy to still be making music decades later that people love and care about every night.
Yeah, and to still have a partnership, 43 years later. And I think I always tell managers, I say, they when we prepare for a tour, they say, "Oh, we're going to have the video wall and the lights and all this." And I said, "Yeah, don't forget the best special effect we have is the chemistry between Billy and myself."
Oh yeah. Well, and of course you guys both still look great and you still sound great and but keeping up his voice and keeping up your chops, it takes a lot of work, right?
You got to keep at it, but that's why we make records,
Yeah.
and continue to tour and just do it the basically do the same knucklehead stuff that we've always done.
Yeah. Well, and of course, people have been looking up to you for years and years and thinking, "See, that's what I want to do." But, it's your job. You make it look easy. So what kind of advice do you give to those kids that are playing guitar now and going, "Yeah, that's how I want to do it."
I mean, you have to love it. As a kid, no one ever, my parents never had to tell me to practice or, any of this stuff. I just loved doing it. It was a way, for a little kid to make a big noise. And, I devoured those records. I mean, and, I grew up in an era where there was so many amazing guitar gods, all of the early 70s guys. And, I was really fortunate to have that in my life, and I feel hopefully I'm carrying on a great tradition of, you know, uh, guitar playing and recording.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're gonna like this, but my co-host is Drew Pearson, one of our great Dallas Cowboys, who caught them at Hail Mary, went in the Hall of Fame. He said, "I gotta ask you your Hail Mary moment, which is that moment in your life or career where you just had to go for it and it worked out for you. What do you suppose that was for you?"
Um, wow. I don't. I guess I went to the prestigious High School of Performing Arts, the Fame School in New York, the one they did the movie about. But just around that time was when club scene was happening with CBGBs, and there was all this new music and new bands happening, and I basically dropped out of school because I felt that what I was learning there was not going to be helpful to me to achieve, being a recording artist. So that took a leap of faith to drop out of a school like that and join a band, which is what I did. And I went out and joined a cover band, and we played that same circuit that Twisted Sister did for three shows, three sets a night, three shows a week, and that's how I learned my craft.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, part of that is that success mindset. We talk about that on the show a lot. Is there something you tell yourself that kind of keeps you in the success mindset and like on the right path always?
Um, Yeah, I'd say I'm really lucky to be doing what I'm doing. First of all, um, you know, uh, be grateful and and always strive to be a better songwriter and a better guitarist. I wake up in the morning, have my coffee, sit down with my guitar, and go, okay, what's my motivation?
Yeah.
And listen to new music all the time, try and stay current, and never take anything for granted.
Absolutely. And what kind of music you've been listening to lately? Anything good we should know about?
Usually what my wife turns me on to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, which is cool because she listens to a lot of hip hop and also rock stuff. So it's a mix of, I'm like anyone else. I'll go on Apple Music, see what the new releases are, and just listen through to stuff. And I listen to a lot of, I mean, the state of the art records that are being done now. Is something that I can apply to currently making records. So I never want to be one of those guys that, well, in my day, we had 24 track analog tape and I embrace new technology.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember that first song that was kind of the bug that bit you, or maybe it was an album, maybe it was a show you saw, made you want to do this?
Um, yeah, what was cool was I had an uncle who used to load jukeboxes, he was one of those guys. And so he'd bring over when the new 45s had to go into jukebox, he'd bring over a stack of 45s. And I remember Satisfaction by the Stones, Summer in the City by the Lovin' Spoonful. Good Vibrations,
Yeah.
by Beach Boys. Of course, the Beatles stuff, and I'd say that the Beatles stuff was the first things that I learned how to play. Because you could sit down with an acoustic guitar and play, you get your Beatles songbook, and the chords were pretty rudimentary. And, I remember learning how to play, Michelle and Eleanor Rigby. And those were the first records that I bought on myself, bought on my own with my paper route money, Beatles records.
Yeah, love it. Well, of course, it all leads up to this new album, which is really, really cool. I mean, you guys must have had fun making it because the magic, is obviously there.
There's good energy around it,
Yeah,
and hats off to Billy for wanting to work with new young writers, and our producer Tommy English is a young guy, and and I think we wanted to keep the spirit of what people knew as classic Billy Idol, but present it maybe in a new way, and it was Billy's idea to do collaborations on this record. And um, I was given a lot of freedom to just be creative. And I remember, like after we did the initial writing and recording in LA, I have a home studio in Vegas. I said, oh, just send me the files. Let me see what I can add to it. And I'd email it to Billy, and 9 times out of 10, he really liked, what I was doing. So it ended up on the album.
yeah. Is there a particular song on there? Maybe it's like choosing a favorite child. Is there a certain one that really stands out to you that's like, it's classic?
Well, I think for one that tugs at your heartstrings, certainly Dream Into It, and I think people initially are, they're surprised that we're not coming out of the gate on the record with a rocker, but we're coming out with the story of Billy Idol.
Yeah,
This record is almost like an oral soundtrack to a movie,
yeah,
and we had in mind that Billy's documentary would be coming out this year. So the record is largely autobiographical. The way I approached a lot of my, recording and guitar was almost like scoring a movie rather than, just playing, just being the guitar player. I had to look at the bigger picture. So that song certainly on an emotional level, but still dancing as far as classic Billy Idol, Steve Stevens. It sounds like exactly where we should be in 2025.
yeah. Love that. And of course, we saw the show last night. Fantastic set. And but for those down the road who haven't seen it yet, what can they expect from it? Because it's an even better show than we could have imagined.
It's a big production, which we've never really uh, had before.
Yeah,
And it's cool though because it's still punk rock somehow. We didn't want pyro. We felt that we're not a pyro band. But visually there's a lot of cool graphics happening. There's great lighting, and always our sound engineer who's been with us, George. I think we really strive to have good sound and lights, and good players. All of our whole band are killer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And of course, it's still fun being on the road. Did you get to do anything Texas centric while you're here?
I didn't. I had to fly back to Las Vegas where I live. It was my birthday. Uh,
Yeah,
so my, so I wanted to spend it with my wife and my cat.
yeah,
And so we had 2 days off. I said, I'm going back home to Vegas. So I didn't really get to see much. I'm going to head out today and maybe hit a museum or something.
that's great. Well, last thing, of course, you're always working on a whole bunch of things. What are we going to see next from you? We're going to get some extra solo music. Anything else to look forward to here?
Well, right now, all of my energies have gone into, the Billy Idol stuff. But yeah, at some point, I don't know if people are aware, I did a flamenco style
Yes.
record, and I really enjoyed it. And I think it's something that I do. It's like I bring my rock sensibility and apply it to flamenco style guitar. So I would love to, revisit that at some point.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Well, we get a little taste of the flamenco when we see the show. We're going to tell everyone to check it out coming up in the next few dates. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for the great answers. And it's always good to talk to you. Really appreciate you, man.
Great. Thanks,
All
Paul.
right. Hey, thanks so much. We'll see
Yep.
you again soon. Okay, bye bye.